May I have your attention, please? The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Crypto Night Show. Host Superman in the house. We've got some big updates, of course. Crypto blockade. Of course, we're talking about the blockade in the Strait of Hormuz. Bit of fun there. But we're going to talk about that from President Trump. And of course, we're going to talk about some of the updates around that. And of course, that means we've gone from a de-escalation to an escalation, but which would probably lead to a de-escalation. So that's kind of where we are right now. The markets, of course, pull back. Yesterday, we covered that on the live stream, I believe, yesterday. Now we're also going to get into where the futures are for the stock market, where they're sitting right now. The stock market will be opening up pre-markets in about let's say 7 hours or so, 7 to 8 hours, and then we've also going to have a look at the crypto majors, how they're reacting at the moment with the slight, escalation, let's say. And then we're going to get into Pulsechain and talk about a few of the Pulsechain projects and how they're going at the moment as well. So I hope you guys enjoyed the show. It'll be Sunday in the Northern Hemisphere in the US. And of course, it is Monday here down under. So that's the way it goes. We got Blair in the house there. Hi, all. Good to see you, Blair. Big shout out. We got Wookie as well, a community leader in the house, following the rugby league up the wires. Yeah, looks like the Warriors, wires means the Warriors team there winning in their match. So there we go. And I think the Newcastle Knights, they lost, didn't they? They lost. We won't talk to Brendan about that. He's our TA guru. Recently had a child, and he's probably having another child. So that's really where we are. When the rugby league's not doing too well, got to do something else. But big shout out to both of them. Great to see you on the house. All right, without further ado, let's get into the news around the crypto blockade. And here we are. We've got a statement from President of the United States, Donald J. Trump, and he says here, so there you have it. The meeting went well. Most points were agreed to, but the only point that really mattered, nuclear, was not. And the reason why they did that, because, of course, that's the main core goal of Trump, right? So they're really trying to go to them, and also they want nuclear weapons, right? We saw I think it was the foreign minister explicitly say they always wanted nuclear weapons, and they were pretty close to getting them, right? So we got effective immediately. The United States Navy and the finest in the world will begin the process of blockading any and all ships trying to enter or leave the Strait of Hormuz. At some point, we will reach an all being allowed to go in or being allowed to go out basis, but Iran has not allowed that to happen by merely saying there may be a mine out there somewhere that nobody knows about but them. This is world extortion, and the leaders of the countries, especially the United States of America, will never be extorted. I have also instructed our Navy to seek and interdict every vessel in international waters that has paid a toll to Iran. Obviously, they were talking about getting Bitcoin, remember? No one who pays an illegal toll will have safe passage on the high seas. We will also begin destroying the mines the Iranians laid in the straits. Now, remember yesterday we talked about 2 destroyers going through the Strait of Hormuz. Remember, it's only about 2 kilometers long. It's 21 miles wide, but about 2 miles in width for the actual shipping. So it's a pretty narrow zone there. Pretty similar to the Strait of Singapore, I believe it is, which is the other big bottleneck. Of course, we don't have terrorist states there, but unless China decides to try to do something. So no one who pays an illegal toll will have a safe passage on high seas. We will also begin destroying mines. Any Iranian who fires at us or at peaceful vessels will be blown to hell. Iran knows better than anyone how to end the situation, which has already devastated their country. Their navy is gone, their air force is gone, their anti-aircraft and radar are useless. Khomeini and most of their leaders are dead, all because of nuclear ambition. Now, just one point on that is that obviously if China decides to feed Iran shoulder missile projectiles, that would be an escalation of the war, right? So that is something that the president, the United States, is looking at. Their navy is gone. Their air force is gone. Now, committee and most of the leaders are dead. The blockade will begin shortly. Other countries will be involved with this blockade. Iran will not be allowed to profit off this illegal act of extortion. They want money, and more importantly, they want nuclear. Additionally, and at an appropriate moment, we are fully locked and loaded, and our military will finish up the little that is left. President Donald J. Trump. Now, we know, of course, that there are probably still thousands of missiles left, and that some of the missile underground cities still exist, right? Obviously, there's multiple ways of trying to build those, and so those will be on a hunt and destroy basis and based on intel, right? So that's kind of not under no illusion that those are still out there, and so that is something that would be hunted down, right? Hunted down. They're likely to be a lot bigger than the Hamas tunnels, a lot more systemized like that, and that's what they'll be hunting down. All right, so that is from Trump. And we also had Saif Al-Daray there from the UAE. He says Iran is in full panic mode after President Trump ordered an immediate naval block on the Strait of Hormuz. The Iranian Revolutionary Guard just announced with a trembling voice the Strait of Hormuz is open for the harmless passage of civilian vessels. Trump just flipped the table completely, and that was their last card, and now it's burning right in front of their eyes. The era of blackmail and threats is over forever. So there we go. That is a big play there, and you can see the Strait of Hormuz, pretty small area, and there's only about a 2-mile channel within that 21 miles that ships actually go through with the deep enough water, etc. So that's the play. Now you can see a number of islands scattered around there. Those are the islands that Trump would end up, taking over if they were doing marine expeditionary forces. And of course, that was the Karg Island there, looking to control most of the oil revenue that goes into Iran, right? So that's about 90%. So that's also an option for Trump. But I think that he's progressing pretty well with this blockade. All right, so that is the play there. Let's jump into the when it might start. Well, April the 13th. So that would be tomorrow, US time. That's from CENTCOM, of course, running the military. US military will begin enforcing a blockade of maritime traffic entering and leaving Iran ports from 10 a.m. Eastern on the 13th of April under a presidential order aimed at increasing pressure on Tehran. US Central Command said in a post on X that measures would apply equally to ships of all nations calling at Iranian ports and coastal areas, including facilities along the Arabian Gulf and Gulf of Oman. So it's another way of shutting down all the oil revenue, and not just that, but trade in goods. CENTCOM said the operation would not affect freedom of navigation through the Strait of Hormuz for vessels traveling to and from non-Iranian ports. Also said commercial shipping would receive further guidance through a formal notice before the blockade takes effect. 6 red lines laid out in the Islamabad talks. The United States laid out sweeping demands and talks with Iran and Islamabad, including a full end to uranium enrichment and, of course, dismantling of the major nuclear facilities, according to 2 U.S. officials. The demands included a complete end to Iran's uranium enrichment program, the dismantling of all major nuclear enrichment facilities, and the transfer of Iranian high enrichment nuclear material out of the country. Now, remember, for civilian use, they're allowed to enrich up to 60%, but of course, if they go up to 89%, that's enough for nuclear bombs to be made, right? And they had enough probably for at least a couple of dozen. So that was the threat there. Remember, they are a radical terroristic state with apocalyptic visions of the end of the world, right? Based on Islam, right? So that's kind of the play. And they were trying to usher that in. There are 2 forms of Islam, of course, Shia and Sunni, that are the main 2 there. Washington also insisted on a full reopening of the Strait of Hormuz without tolls, a broader peace arrangement involving regional allies, and an end to Iranian support for proxy groups, including Hezbollah in Lebanon and Yemen's Houthi rebels. We have made it very clear that what our red lines are. They have not chosen to accept our terms, says Vice President J.D. Vance after the talks, of course, that corrected the markets downwards. Vance left Pakistan early Sunday without a deal after what U.S. officials had expected to be a short initial meeting turned into 21 hours of negotiations. Classic Iranian negotiation tactics there. Talks with the highest level direct engagements between Washington and Tehran since 1979. Now, at the same time, of course, in Iran, we've got the regime killing tons of Iranian people. I mean, they execute them in the most cruel styles. So if you haven't seen those images, they're pretty bad. The talks were the highest. Yep. So after high stakes peace negotiations between the US and Iran broke down in Islamabad overnight amid disagreements over Iran's nuclear ambitions, President Trump announced on Sunday the US Navy will begin blockading all ships from entering or leaving the Strait of Hormuz. And that's something that the Iranians didn't take into account from the looks of it. Effective immediately, which we read all through that. Trump added that the US Navy will seek and interdict every vessel in international waters as well. And the comments from Trump set up a potential for an escalation of hostilities, while they may end up setting up a de-escalation too. And that's what may very well happen following the failed meeting. So once the regime starts running out of money, they have to get pretty desperate. And we've also got Trump and Israel. They're also, guarding the borders as well, particularly on the Iraq side. Following the failed meetings of Islamabad, Iran said that it will prevent safe passage through the strait until the US agrees to a deal. Iran is not in a hurry, and until the US agrees to the reasonable deal, there will be no change in the situation in the Strait of Hormuz. Now, obviously, there's no reasonable deal there. We can't have a radical terrorist state with nuclear bombs. So that's going to petition. They're going to continue to deal with that. Now, remember, I think the ceasefire is still going. So when it ends, that means more leaders can be killed, right? So remember, Trump's taken many opportunities to kill leaders when they're available. So the pressure is going to increase. They're also facing a lot of people within Iran, the resistance movement. Remember, 89% of Iranian people were against them. They've killed just tens to hundreds of thousands of Iranian people in the most brutal ways. So there's no love there. And Iranian regime's getting pretty desperate there, doing door-to-door knocks and things like that. Imagine having some fascist regime come to your door and pull you out, rough you up a bit. If they think that you're guilty, they'll take you out. You never know. You may never come back. There's lots of that sort of terroristic sort of things from your own government. The Islamic Republic said that it has no plans for nuclear talks with the US after negotiations. No program has yet been announced for the time, place, or next round of negotiations. But of course, the New York Times has said that there may very well be another chat within a couple of days. So just keep a lookout for that. So that's if that's true, that's counters. They say one thing on one hand and then do another on the other, right? It's kind of the play. Look brave, but seek a deal. Now, Trump signals win as military readiness ramps up. And I think that if Trump goes for another round of military attacks, it's going to be even more brutal. I think, particularly against the army itself. So it's going to be interesting to see that. That would place another level of pressure that Trump may have to invest into to get the deal done. So a number of tactics being played out here. Whether we have a deal or not makes no difference to me, as Trump said. And the reason is because we've won. And of course, the next unloading of attacks will be brutal. Will be absolutely brutal. So I think there'll be I think the New York Times might be very well right. There'll be another attempt at a deal done in a couple of days. Now, always the issue is enforcement, right? But I suggest to you that we'll probably get the CIA and other groups there trying to bolster the resistance, even if a deal is done in the coming weeks and months, so that the regime does fall. And that it moves back towards what it was 1979, Western style democracy kind of place. So with a great first world kind of civilization. Of course, the Persian people are not Arabs, and they have had a pretty amazing history and contribution to humanity as well, amongst the maths and lots of other things. Iranian officials warn that any attempt to challenge their control of the waterway would be met with a firm and forced response. Well, they're not going to be very difficult to enforce that now that the blockade is coming up. The exit of the US delegation without a safe passage agreement for energy exports suggests that Hormuz blockade and associated war premium on oil and shipping are likely to persist. Now, that's going to be a question mark over that now that the US, of course, has a lot of ships coming to the US. The US is a net exporter, and now there are a ton of empty ships going to the US to buy oil, and I believe Australia may be one of those too. So Trump there, hedging his bets on that and looking to keep oil down. Now, let's quickly look at where the futures are right now. Futures for the US 500 are down 0.75%, so we're expecting that to open in about pre-markets about 8 hours and about 12, just under 11.5 hours to go until the markets open for Monday. So we're down 0.75% right now at 67.65. So it's 50 points. So we'll see how that goes over the market time when it opens up. In terms of commodities, West Texas is back elevated again. Like I said, we had a de-escalation with the meetings and the two week ceasefire, but now of course we've got a re-escalation here, and we've got up 8%, up almost $8 to $104 for West Texas, and Brent oil there up 7% to $6.60 to almost $102 on Brent oil. So another re-escalation there, and of course Trump there with the blockade starting on the 13th there. At the moment, gold is down almost 1%, $43 to $474,700. We got silver down 2.6%, $2 to $74.50 at the moment. So that's kind of where the commodities are. All right, so let's quickly look at the federal rate monitor. We've got obviously still got that in the background with the central bank. So that's 2 weeks, 2 days, and 15 hours away. So still a bit of time to go. We're expecting a no change in interest rates. In fact, all the way until we get a new chair, which is in July, and we'll see what happens in July with the interest rates there. Obviously, we got the inflation rate. I think it was the CPI. That was CPI. No, it was the consumer. The other one. I just forgot the name. So we got that, and that was below expectations. So higher in inflation, but below expectations. So we'll have to see what the results for April come in at for inflation after the oil shock there. All right, which seems to be a bit more elevated, right? But we'll see how much prices will come down with the Trump strategies moving forward, and of course a lot of ships going to the US. Let's have a quick look at the economic calendar for this week. See if we've got anything else on there. Let's do this week, and I don't know if we've got this just on US, but let's see. We got existing home sales. We got the producer price index on Wednesday. That's the month one. That'd be interesting. Crude oil inventories. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. I think that's interesting. Manufacturing index coming up. Philadelphia. That's kind of all that's coming up this week. All right, that leads us into crypto. So welcome everybody. If you're just joined the show, don't forget to subscribe on YouTube, and also hit the follow button on X. We're streaming on 4 channels at the moment. So welcome to all of you. Let's have a look at the CoinGecko. We're going to do a refresh here to make sure it's updated. We've got the total market cap at 2.5 trillion. That is very tiny in world markets, obviously. I think you got the money market, debt markets in the hundreds of trillions of dollars. So we're still pretty small. We got the total market cap down 0.4%. Not too bad after yesterday's little correction. Looking at Bitcoin, Bitcoin's down 0.5% on the 24 hours, so not too bad there, 71,180. We got Ethereum there down 0.6% at $2,203, and that's a very good sign. I think that's a very good sign that Ethereum's holding up there at the 2,200 mark and above the 50-day. We'll check that out in a minute. We've got XRP up 0.2%, $1.33. BNB up 0.5% at $596. So we've got a bit of green amongst those. Solana there at number 7, up 0.2%, $82.29. Tron up 0.9% at 32 cents. And then number 10 is Doge, and that is up 0.3% at 91 cents. So actually pretty good after the correction yesterday. Let's see if it can hold that. Now, look, best performer over the last 24 hours, I guess, is Tron up 0.9%. Over the last week is still Bitcoin and Ethereum, and that's still a very positive sign. We're up 3% still. We haven't been dragged, into negative territory over the last week with the, de-escalation scenario there. And so Ethereum, they're still up 3.9%, and we're going to get into some of the reasons why, of course, in a minute. Looking at the top 100 performers, we've got the top 5 here. Rave, we've got Rave up, it says 2,156%. I haven't been watching that, but that's up 172% today, apparently. Block Capital there at 261% up today. Siren there up 47% for the week. Sorry, for the week, I should say. Up 13% today. And Zcash up 46% for the week. Finally, Dash, good old Dash, there up 37% at the number 5. So there we go. Some pretty crazy stuff right now. Let's have a quick look at that Rave token, because it's up some pretty insane amounts. I'm not sure whether this is a glitch in the matrix, but it's up pretty high here. I don't know. That's the last 24 hours, it says. Let's do year to date. Shall we have a look at that? There we go. So it's just gone from the roof there, 31 cents, all up to $5.79. So yeah, I'm not sure what that's doing. I haven't really actually followed that one. So that is Rave doing pretty amazing, and they're sitting pretty high now. So trending in the top 1,000, we've got Rave, and we've got Trador, and Infinex there in the top 1,000. Trending overall is Rave again, Pudgy Penguins, and Aurea there. Those are trending overall. So that is pretty much it. Not too bad after yesterday's correction in the last 24 hours is the markets. Let's zoom in on Bitcoin. Bitcoin at the moment, and we got the 4-hour chart. We're actually looking pretty good still on the 4-hour chart. We are above the 50 moving average, and we've managed to get back over it. We did pop below it today. You can see that. We got down to a low probably about 6 hours or so ago of 70,500 on Bitcoin. We're back up at 71,139, still fighting to stay over that 50 moving average. This is the kind of the trader's view. And we've had a bullish cross here too, by the way. That bodes, I guess, well as also. And the 200 moving average for the 4-hour is at 69,854. So that's kind of looking good. Let's go to the daily though and have a look at that. The daily there, we're sitting above the 50-day. Isn't that cool? So that's actually really positive. I guess we can see this as a test. That red candle there, that's representing a lot of the correction that we had yesterday. We got quite high, didn't we? We got up to, over the weekend, 73,822. And then, of course, we had the bad news about no deal. And now we are sitting at 71,142. The market is holding up really, really nicely here. Obviously, we would need some sort of event, market make event, to make us go down further. And as we said, on the 6th of February, we already had the 60,000 mark. So we're already down towards the bottom of the power law. And of course, the floor law there would be 53K. But we'd probably need some catalyst for that. I don't know whether we've got enough issue there at the moment, since most of the bad damage for wars is normally in the first 10%, as Tom Lee's nicely pointed out, across multiple wars all the way back to World War I using that data. So it does seem that even though we've got re-escalation, it's not so dire at the moment, not so dire. So we'll keep a look at that. It's still going to be volatile for the next week or two. So and we'll see whether the New York Times is right and the Iranians come back to the table in a few days' time to try and make a deal there. All right, so we've got 71,135. We've got the 50-day moving average at 70,735 in yellow, and then we've got the 200-day moving at 83,273. So that's it. We want this yellow line to curve up, and we want to move to a golden cross, because we've been in this death cross, damn it, since the 7th of November. I'm just kidding. We've been 17th of November there, and remember we had the big liquidation event all the way back here on the 10th of October, and that's the play. So, that's where we are. We had our local high here, I guess, all-time high, I should say, at 126,000 for Bitcoin. Came all the way down to 60K, a 52% correction, but not the 70% correction that people were thinking of. If we got down to 53, we're getting up to about 60% pullback, and now at the moment we're only 43.7% down from the all-time high of Bitcoin. Now there's some very important things happening fundamentally with Bitcoin, and that is we still only have less than 1 million Bitcoin to come out all time till 2141. We know that the vast majority of that, about 670,000, less than that now, because we've got had more come out since we got to 20 million. So we've got about 670,000 or less, maybe 640 or something. It's coming out by 2032. So think about it from the supply side. We've only got a runway of 6 years before we really get down to virtually no inflation coming out. It really is small, guys. It really is small. And secondly, we've only got about 1 million active liquidity, right? That's actually liquid, and that's being eaten up by ETFs and digital asset treasuries, right? And we also got some other things I think interesting happening, is that what is being sold in Bitcoin is being eaten up in the year. So it only suggests that prices are going up from here, and arguably no more 70% decrease. And we've got this 52, 53% decrease could very well be the bottom there, and looking very likely. So I think we've got some transformative numbers, structural change numbers happening with the old Bitcoin. And even though we're in this volatility period, I think that's looking very good for the second half of this year and, of course, into 2027 and beyond. I think Bitcoin is about to be re-rated. And just think about what's happening around the world. Monetary policy, massive increase in money supply. I think since 2008, I think we've seen a tripling in monetary supply, devaluation of the US dollar about 40%. And so what is fixed? Well, gold's not really fixed. It's inflating still. People are mining gold everywhere. But Bitcoin is fixed. Bitcoin really is the only true fixed coin out there that people have perception about and believe. And I think that's pretty much game on. And now we've got all the banks agreeing. All the banks realize, hey, this is the only really fixed thing. And it's also on the blockchain, which means it's a ledger of truth, right? What is truth, says Pontius Pilate, right? All that relativism that we're used to from progressives. What is truth? Well, apparently the blockchain is a form of truth, right? So there we go on the blocks. So nice there. And I think that's what people are starting to get. And that's why all those that were naysayers are now starting to flow into the blockchain, into Bitcoin, and it's game on. It's game on. It really is starting to ramp up big time, guys. Awesome stuff there. Hey, look, we got John in the house. Actually, we got a few others in the house too. We got Craig in the house. Morning all. Great to see you, Craig. Always a pleasure. We got John as well. All in. Let's go. 100% John. I think this is very good timing for that. And we got Goody as well. Looks like the bottom. Absolutely Goody. Looking like the bottom very much indeed. Now, I want to say a big shout out to Brian, one of our moderators and a former community leader for our Discord. Helped hundreds of people in our Discord with Hex and crypto. Big shout out there. 50 months of membership. He's one of our first 3 members on the channel. So big shout out to you, Brian. And once again, thanks for everything you've done. Just a great, great guy, and great pleasure to have you in the house there. 50 months of support of the Kryptonite Show. Formerly, of course, the Hex Token channel as well. So big shout out there. Sub boss, says Brian. Boss, I hope you're doing well, and I hope your brother's well too. Big shout out there. All right. So yeah, here we are, guys. Looking amazing. I think we're in the inevitability now of a price and move up because it's really looking like we just got more buying than selling and very low inflation coming out. And so let's talk more about that. So ETFs, ETPs, and DATs are basically eating up all the Bitcoin supply. Even during this war time, we are still holding up pretty well, and the market doesn't look like really wants to go down. It would have to be something quite a black swan event, I think, to take us down to that 53K mark, right? Not expecting at all for a scenario where we go 30, 40K. I think that's extremely unlikely. But the power law suggests that 53 is still on the cards for a bearish scenario. But we did get to 60 already. And like I say, we've had the worst of the war news, really. It'd have to be something really unusual. I don't know, a nuclear bomb going off or something. I don't know. Something, it'd be pretty bad. The Chinese are under quite a bit of pressure. The economy is struggling. They're having a lot of issues with their regime. That being said, they're still pretty powerful, at least in the off the coast where they domain, and that they can still cause trouble around the world too by supplying weapons and things like that. So they've still got issues they can do, and of course maybe Taiwan's off the cards at the moment. We'll see. Now, obviously, that was something we don't want because that is a World War III scenario. So none of us want that. I don't know if we're going to go down that path. So I don't think that's likely at the moment. All right, so here we are at 71,000 on the old Bitcoin, and let's zoom into some of these zooms here. Now, this is the digital asset treasury side. Michael Saylor with MSTR strategy buying up all the Bitcoin. They're heading towards the 5%, the 1 million, and they're doing very well. So they're currently at about 767,000 Bitcoin, but this doesn't include their purchases over the last week, and they're about to give us an update tomorrow, right? Update tomorrow on their purchases, not only for Stretch, the preferred stock, which is a yield product, vampiring the bond market and money markets and private credit markets, but also their common stock issuance, which they're pretty much flipped now, right? Because they're raising so much capital from the private market, they don't have to issue any more shares, relatively speaking, and therefore they can flip it from 25 to 75, 75 to 25 in favor of the raising most of the capital through the Stretch product. And so you can see the big circles there. The big circles are the purchases from strategy, and look at them, pretty big circles down the bottom here. So they're looking really good. Fantastic stuff there. Now the average purchase price is in green there, and so they're still out of the money at the moment, but not far, right? Not far, about $4,000 or so. And average cost $75,644. We're at 71, so they're about $4,600 out of the money. These are paper losses, they're unrealized losses, and as soon as we go over 75,644, they're in the money, right? So they got paper gains. So it's just a bit of a gain there. And of course, they're looking to accumulate the 5%, but looks like they very well may go well beyond that into up towards 10%, maybe up towards 2 million Bitcoin. Some people have some huge numbers of accumulation, 3-4 million, but let's keep it humble at the moment. Certainly looking good for the million, and maybe get there by the end of the September, October. Looking good there with the old stretch. So it's a fundamental change, a revolutionary change here, and onwards and upwards. And so far, it's looking very good. So that's from Michael Saylor, a really cool insight there. 105 purchase events. Let's jump over to something else that's very important. That Michael Saylor put this out earlier. Our Bitcoin break-even ARR is 2%. So all we have to do is make a return of 2%, and in terms of the Bitcoin price. And if Bitcoin grows faster than that over time, we can cover our dividends indefinitely without issuing new MSTR shares, track it in real time on their site, of course. So that's pretty huge, right? So obviously they're offering 11.5% at the moment for their stretch product, compared to the money market, debt markets of 2 to 4%, and the private credit markets of 8.5%. So it's easily going to attract all that capital and vampire the old traditional markets. Who wants to earn 4% or 2% when you can earn 11.5%? Even if it varies, you're still crushing it, right? Still crushing it there. You can live out your retirement living pretty, right? That's the whole idea. And your neighbor might be earning 2% in the bank. You're earning 11.5%, and he's wondering why you're buying a new car every year, right? So that's the difference, right? There's a difference there. All right, so some pretty powerful stuff happening with the old digital asset treasuries and holding up Bitcoin. They're accumulating a lot of Bitcoin. Maybe 45,000 Bitcoin. It's going to be interesting. We'll try and get solid numbers. 2 months so far of fantastic purchases. I think we could get up to 45,000 for the month. Let's see how we go, and of course it could go well beyond that. If we've got 1 million Bitcoin sitting liquid in the markets, moving around for tradability, I think that's going to dry up pretty quickly, and prices inevitably going to rocket, going to soar. And that power law curve is going to go up to the top of the range. It's going to be fun. Maybe we'll check that out tomorrow. All right, so that is pretty awesome. I just got to go back to Brian's 50 months. Isn't that amazing? 50 months, a nice number there. So a big shout out to you, Brian. That's such huge support. Really do appreciate that. 50 months, that's a long time. So appreciate it. All right, so what else do we got? A Diamond Hand says it's free to tickle the like button. You've definitely smashed the like button and hit the subscribe and follow buttons at the moment if you're watching on YouTube and X. So here we are with Ethereum. Ethereum's likewise story. Michael Saylor's vampiring the debt markets to pump Bitcoin, while a Bitmine immersion from Tom Lee with the digital asset treasury there is buying up all the Ethereum, right? And certainly been lifting the purchases up to 71,000 a week. Is pretty outstanding, right? So pretty awesome. Brian says it feels like 500 months. That's hilarious. I'm going to give him a clap for that. It does indeed. And especially when I remember Brian he was always on the help desk, and because we run in our Discord, we've got over 1,000 members, and we have a crypto helpline. We're the only ones with the crypto helpline, and Brian was manning that a lot for months and months, along with other members. But he was really doing a huge job there and helped hundreds of people, and that would have felt like 500 months, Brian. That would have felt like 500 months. He's very patient. He's a very patient person, and very good educator and teacher there. All right, so we're sitting on the 4-hourly here as well on the old Ethereum there. We're sitting above the 50 moving average. Isn't that cool? These charts look beautiful, don't they, in that sense? So we got the 50 at 2,182. We got the 200 moving average in orange at 2,131. We got a little bullish cross here, haven't we? Isn't that good? And we're sitting above that right now. It's almost poetic. It's almost like the market knows. Well, the market does know, doesn't it? The market does know. They can see these charts as well. It's not just us, guys. It's not just us. Let's go to the daily and have a look at that. So the daily, we're sitting above the 50, just like Bitcoin. Interesting, eh? And so market maker hasn't pushed us down, right? We haven't had bad enough news or whatever to push us down at the moment. So we're still sitting here, 2,197 right now. We have our red candle from yesterday's re-escalation there, and so far we're sitting pretty nice here. Got good support at the 2,600. Sorry, let me rephrase that. Good support here at $2,163 on the 50 day. 50 day, yeah, and the 200 day we're sitting at 2,666. So there we go. We're looking pretty good. Another retest of the 50, and this time we're holding up real nice. Last time we just came up and down, and this time we're holding up even with no deal being done with Iran. So ticking away there. So that is Ethereum there right now. Now tomorrow we'll also get an update. When I say tomorrow, it'll be tonight, later on tonight. So probably in about 8 p.m., 8 a.m. Eastern is. That's in about, I don't know, what's it, about 9, 10 hours, something like that. Maybe earlier. I can't remember now. Somewhere in that ballpark. We will get the update for Bitmine Immersion with their ETH purchases and cash positions and everything else. Last time they finished with $850 million. Now, the MNAV is slightly below 1, right? So it's difficult to raise capital when you do that. And, of course, they're looking to buy, potentially do other acquisitions to pull together their whole finance picture. They're bringing traditional finance from the traditional markets over onto the blockchain, onto Ethereum. And so they're, while MicroStrategy is vampiring the debt markets, they're kind of vampiring the equity markets in many ways. And so here we were waiting for that, waiting for that announcement too. So tomorrow, 2 big announcements there for the week. And don't forget, this week on Wednesday is the 15th. That's when US tax returns are due. We may get a bit of a sell-off on Wednesday, so we could have a kind of a weakish first half of the week. That being said, if we don't get aggressive sell-offs like normal kind of thing, then we could end up, that just shows you the strength of the buying that we've got coming in now that we didn't used to have with the digital asset treasuries, right? They're really playing a key role. And now we've got all these ETFs coming in like BlackRock and Morgan Stanley and others. So we're getting a lot of buyer support that we otherwise wouldn't have had, right? So this is kind of cool. And then on after the 15th, we could get the rally, particularly Bitcoin, and get a bit of a rally on the other side after the tax returns are done. So that's kind of the play right now. Let's jump over to Pulsechain. Pulsechain at the moment, we're on day 1,067. Let's do a refresh of this to make sure we got the latest and greatest. If you haven't subscribed to YouTube, smash it. We're streaming on the Kryptonite Show, Superman Crypto, and Pulsechain X. And, of course, we're on the X platform as well. Go up and smash the follow button. Really does help a lot. And, of course, hit the repost button. Share the show around. All right, so we're on day 1,067. We've got Pulse at the moment at 50746. It is at down 1.3%. And I always like to give this comparison, and that is that, if you did a sacrifice for Pulsechain, it would have cost you about $85,000 to get a billion Pulse. Now it only costs you 7,000. Sorry, no, I'm kidding. It would cost you 85,000 for a billion Pulse. Now it costs you 7,460. So isn't that crazy? That's how much volume you're going to get now for that. So it's a huge opportunity to pick up big bags of Pulse right now. Pulse X at the moment is at 50572, down 1.25%. We got the buy and burn sitting at about 8.84%. Ink token just below 35 cents, down 3%. Hex on Pulsechain, or PHEX as it's called, is at 0.13 of a penny, down 2.6%. EHEX is down today, down definitely a bit there. 0006 right now is EHEX, or Hex on Ethereum. The OG Hex. Now remember, the OG Hex was one of the top 5 coins in the last bull market, 2025, doing circa 10,000x. So it was a big deal there. Now, what have we got the combined price, EX and PX? Well, it has dropped a little bit there. We're sitting just above 1,900 of a penny for the combined price there. Jumping over to the gas prices, we're sitting at $1 million, so we're quite elevated at the moment, probably up about 40%, no, actually up 80% on the gas prices there, sitting at 0.3 of a penny right now. Validators, we're sitting at 50,460, pretty similar to what we've had the last week. And the bridge there, 69.6, so we're down about 350, I think, so 370,000 overnight there, obviously with the weaker markets as well. So that is Gold Pulse numbers. Let's jump over to the top 100 trending peers. This is the default view for Deck Screener. Not financial advice, do your own due diligence. We try to our best to navigate ourselves through this list. But we've got Liquid Loans. What the heck is up there at number 1, up 5.9%. So its liquidity is pretty damn thin. Now, Liquid Loans was the third biggest sacrifice set outside Richard Hart's Pulse and PulseX. $52 million in capital was raised. It's probably sitting in the bank account earning some pretty nice money during this bear market. And here we are. They probably spend a bit of it, but let's say 10%. And here we are at Liquid Loans up 5.92%. And there's hardly any liquidity in there. It's pretty crazy. Now, you guys, I'm not trying to create controversy. I'm just pointing out the obvious, right? We got down here about 4 weeks ago. We got down. There's the weekly candles here on liquid loans. It is a liquidity fork. It's the biggest one on Pulsechain by TVL, and it uses Pulse as collateral. We actually got down, to believe it, we got down to 601,000 on this wick 4 weeks ago. Isn't that insane? 4 weeks ago down to 401. That's crazy stuff. And now we're up at we're up at 602,000. So basically 2x there. But man, that chart not very friendly. Obviously, like a lot of Pulsechain charts. But let's be fair. Let's look at the pulse ratio. The pulse, in the sense, obviously, there's two type of fairnesses here. One about the actual US dollars, and the other one is about the ratio performance there. Let's have a look. Not too much better, right? Not too much better. We're a lot of volatility in here, obviously, but we're sitting at 0.027 pulse per liquid loans token. So a lot of liquid loan token. How long has this been around for now? 2 years and 4 months. So there was I think it was a 2-year bonding curve, wasn't it, for liquid loans? And the Hex Gold Whale was a big one, I'm pretty sure. And that was 2 years out. So no doubt they had the tokens. I think we talked about this some time ago, 4 months or so ago, was it? Something like that. Now they got the biggest multiplier too. So they're probably sitting on a big fat bag of tokens. But of course, there's hardly no liquidity, etc. And I'm just trying to think how much millions they put in. Was it 6 or 7 million or something or more? Something that's a huge number, wasn't it? Ouch, ouch, ouch. That's all you can say. All right. That's it. Let's move on from liquid loans, because the more I talk about it, the worse they start to sound. We've got Diehard at the moment. Diehard there up 5% on the old Diehard, earning PDI if you're holding that. UFO there from PTC to Grays, tied in with the ProveX. A nice move. I think the teams that have tied into ProveX and Peacock have done very well. So smart moves there, straight out of the gates. And we've got that up 3.7%. Emmett Farm, or $1.22. Woohoo! Emmett Farm, Kairos, man, the farming king on Pulsechain. And look at that, looking pretty good, isn't that? That's the weekly candles. And 1.22 pulse, $1.22, looking very good here. And the pulse ratio, let's look at that, looking outstanding. Look at that, 163 pulse per Emmett. So well done to Kairos. And of course, he's got great partnerships with a lot of the top tier teams on Pulsechain. Now, a big deal here is that he is very good at collaborations. He is open-minded, and these are key. So if you're a small team and you're not doing these things, well, and you're wondering why there's a difference in performance, well, this is some of the reasons why, right? Just some of the reasons there. And so it's good to learn of some of the teams that are doing it the right way and getting a lot of stuff. It means you have to do a bit of work, though. You have to get talking and chatting and deal making. But this is the way. This is the way to go. All right, so kind of cool. Offering high yields is Emmett Farm. Teddy Bear up there at the moment from James and Maria. Now, Teddy Bear was essentially, supposed to be a meme coin, but also a reflection of the value of James and Maria's token system, right? He had multiple waves of token launches, and at least 2, and that is up 3% right now, tied in the old treasury bill. True Farm. True Farm is essentially a copy of Emmett, but it is under a different ownership, right? So it's under True DeFi, and True DeFi is kind of doing managed funds. They got the 2x miner, in other words, you double your Pulse miner. They also have True Farm with the True Farm token. That is currently sitting at 80 cents, and that's up almost 3% today as well. So we got 2 of the farms. They're doing very well. I call these tier 2 projects, and that's based on risk return. So I have the blue chips. Not all of those are performing. Of course, they will require Pulse to perform, but they're just more conservative. And then I have the farms next, and then I have a few other type of DeFi in there. And then we have different tiers, for level 3, level 4, level 5. And then these are top performers in tier 2 is the old Emmett and True Farm, up 2.9%, looking real good. And you can earn high APRs on those farms. So well worth checking out if you're after DeFi income. Emmett Farm, True Farm, great place to go there. What else? We've got Peacock. This is the big peer too. Nice to see that number 8, sitting at 1.4 cents right now. We have got potential for big news coming from good old Peacock this weekend. They've still got Sunday US time to deliver. They have got something big coming out, the big S. And people have been trying to think about it. Is it something around stablecoin? Is it just basically the new yield product with liquidity? And they've been pretty ambitious about the fact that this is pretty new. and they're looking to multiply the amount of liquidity and turnover that we're going to get on Pulsechain and multi-chain. So we're pretty excited about this. We'll see when that drops. They're working pretty hard on that. And yeah, so last update I think was only an hour ago. They're still working on that. So Peacock, they're doing pretty well, and we're looking for that. So that should get moved up. Now, I talked about tier one projects. Obviously, Liberty Swap tier one project, and one of the few tier one projects or blue chips that will have dynamic pricing. In other words, being able to re-rate because they're just rapidly rolling out top DeFi and expanding the ecosystem really fast. You know, they got 1 to 3 different major launches every month that are just expanding the ecosystem, and they're multi-chain as well. And they're also pivotally based on being a bridge to Pulsechain too. So we're excited about where they're heading. So keep a lookout for that. Definitely looking good. We've got ProveX in the mix as well. ProveX in there with Dime, sitting at 8,400. We're going to look at that too. But let's quickly go to Peacock, and we're going to pull up the news around, see if they've got any updates since we've been going live here. You know, sometimes I do. Sometimes I do. So let's scroll down here. We got 9 minutes ago. They got top holders 5,347 with a meaningful balance of Pulse. Squid, Turtle, Dolphin equals 5,259, 98.3%. Top tier whales, Sharks 43, 0.8%, and Whale 45, 0.8% there. So they're looking at the Pulse holders here. Interesting. Pulsechain wallet distribution right now. Interesting stuff there. Hopefully things will turn for the better. Up only, says Sean. Up only. So that's a post that just put out. Now, 20 minutes ago, we got a new update here. Liberty Swap was hot off the press, guys. We've delayed the release of the S product until Wednesday, April the 15th, 2026 tax day, to audit the security of the dependencies we're using. Smart move. I'm glad they did that. I think that's really good, given the re-escalation of the Iranian issue and, of course, the tax deal on Wednesday. Smart move by the team there. To support the market, we've purchased $7,000 worth of Peacock and $2,000 worth of Pulse and allocated it to our Peacock strategy. Isn't that awesome? So we've got that's a bit of a lift in the old Peacock there, and they've got the receipts. They got receipts, a bit like gangsters. Got receipts. So there we go. Support the market. That is pretty cool. So you can see some of the recent posts there. What they buy? Another what's that? 15.5 million. I don't know if that's what they bought, but they've added to their Pulse bags. I kind of call it their working treasury for liquidity. So kind of cool. Nice stuff there from the team. What else there? Will the S product pay my tax bill? It will solve all problems. You gotta love that. So great stuff there. I'm just going to write smart move, although I think my hand's fallen asleep. We'll find out. Smart move. Smart move, Peacock. All right, so cool. So that is some of the hottest stuff there from Liberty Swap. So they've delayed the S product. We're excited about that. I think that was really good. So that's cool from Liberty Swap. Now, what else we got? We're going to quickly jump in on ProveX. So let's quickly look at that. I want to go to the biggest ProveX peer because I always prefer the biggest liquidity. We're going to scroll down. I think that might be down a bit further here. Where has it gone? Too far down? ProveX. Maybe it's all the way back up and I've gone too far down here. Let me switch by liquidity and I go cheat find it. Let's cheat find it. There we go, ProveX. And we can see that ProveX there rebounding at 8,400 is the hourly chart. Let's go to the 4 hourly because I prefer that a bit. This is more a trader view. Trader chart looking real good. Look at that. 21 moving average and 4 hour there strong over that. That's really good. The RSI is down at 60. Looking good there. And let's go to the daily. My targets are still in, right? So the targets there are 91 to 9,300. So still in the play for that. Obviously, we had a special event with the Iranian no deal, but still on track. Everything on track for that. So still 91, 9,300 for the current short-term targets. No change there. No change. What else? We've got Derek in the house from RhinoFi. Big shout out to Derek. Buy the blood, says Derek. Buy the blood. The blood on the street. The blood on the street. That's right. Now, big shout out to RhinoFi. RhinoFi is smart team, right? Smart team. They already got their 28-day recharging cycle tokenomics, which has worked really well. But they recently, like I said back before, keeping an open mind, making partnerships, collabs. they went and they got themselves involved with True DeFi and the SRE investment fund, and they've really been doing really well on their chart. So big shout out to that. If you're a small, medium team out there, don't try and protect your little castle. Get out there and start building relationships, making collabs, and participating in some of these really cool farms and other things that are out there that will help increase your value proposition and the number of users that you have. Really encourage that, right? All right, so there we go. All right, so let's jump back to where we were at with the markets here. Obviously, Peacock there solidifying there with a bit of market buys as well. Delayed there till Wednesday. Smart move. Solsum mini mill supposed to be going to Solana, sitting at 4.7 cents at the moment. Top Hat tied into Peacock there from Crypto Coffee, our top influencer, up 1.4%. Pepe at the moment up 1.3%, having a little bit of rebound. Got sold off yesterday, didn't it? From memory. Yeah, a little bit sell off yesterday, but Pepe back up there. You get that? Pepe back up. I don't know. But we got Zendog, part of the Peacock quadfecta, let's say. They say trifecta, but I say quadfecta. I'm just including just the Pulse guy in it. Up 1% right now. And then we got Curve there, the old real estate there. Is that the tokenization one? I think it is, at 0.75%. And so we've got 33 coins. 1 in 3 coins essentially is green US dollar wise. The rest of them are red. They're red. Some of them will still be up against Pulse though. Let's have a look. Let's scroll all the way down. And let's have a look at the charts down here. We've got quite a few with no data on them for some reason. No trading there. Not sure how they made it onto the list. P Tiger, that was up yesterday, wasn't it? Well, it's down 22% today. Some of our winners yesterday. Yeah, this was a winner yesterday. Look at that. Up, and now down. So that was a jump and a dump there as well. Now, I think Tiger Crypto God was on the El Salvador Pulsechain show, was it? I think that's what it was. We might see more about that in the Monster thread coming out today. But that was pretty cool. Pretty crazy show there with some Pulsekins. Reminds you of one of those high school camps, crazy high school camps. We've got Mafia at the moment is sitting at 76 cents, down 8% as well. That was a flying star yesterday, wasn't it? I think it was. Yeah, look at that. So this is the daily charts on Mafia. Been had a nice little rally. Now I believe that tomorrow, I don't know if you guys are closer to the news, that Mafia, the 90 days is up. So that means the whitelist should start randomly being allocated, assuming Rackham hasn't changed that. So let me know in the chat about that. So we'll find out. We've obviously got also they have been doing a lot of promotion on Mafia there and taken some of the stuff down for Coinwell and Coinaki. So it's obviously something they're going to delay for a bit later, focused on the Mafia right now. So let's keep a lookout for that. So far, the chart's been moving to the upside. All right, PTC the Greys is down as well. So these are all, pretty big teams, I would say. Particularly, obviously, Mafia, Rackham, Rochelle, and PTC the Greys got huge support from Ian Heinisch, B Roots / Moon King, and of course Prairie Banana, who's amazing at covering it. He does all the analytical breakdowns, goes next level with that. And we got PTC the Greys there is down 4.8%. But probably what's most significant is that it has broken the 301, isn't it? It's now 409894. So it's down a little bit. You can see that nice rally on the weeklies or weekly candles. 2 weeks of rally and then down for 5 weeks. Let's look at the pulse ratio to see how it's performing against Pulse. And it is down also. We had a very nice run up here though on the weeks. And the pulse ratio way better than US dollars, of course. Up and away. A really nice run, isn't it? I mean, it had a great run. So I mean, it's came all the way down. Look at that, all the way down, and rallied up. What's that? It rallied up to about 246, so about 3.5x inside 105 days. So not bad there for the patient. This is one for the patient as a DAO token, and then it's been down quite a bit just on the pullback there, 26%. So still holding up pretty relative to that. So if it can hold some support here, RSI not really too indicative. 58, sort of no man's land. Kind of a decision point needs to be made there. But they've got the referral program running as well. Those kind of the main plays there. I guess that's where we are. We've got a few OG web chefs like Dominance and Finvesta down about 4%. What else? The Pulse guy down 3.7. 9mm, the second biggest DEX. We only got 2 main DEXs, down 3.5% there at the moment. But I think that's been performing not too bad. This is one of our blue chips, one of our tier ones that we'll really need Pulse to run, right, for it to run. And let's look at the weekly candles just coming off the bottom there as well. And we're up, 2x on that, I guess. And then the Pulse ratio on the weekly, let's go to the weekly. That's been rising, right? So been rising pretty nice. So yeah, is it a breakout point? I think it might be. It's got plenty of room in the RSI for it on the weekly, and looking promising. 635 on the old Pulse ratio there. That is looking promising for the upside, I think. So in the daily, got plenty of room there to move. So we might see this zigzag all the way out and break out. Could have a nice little jump. Market maker come in. Keep a lookout for that for the 9mm. Remember, it is our second biggest DEX. We only have two main DEXs, Pulsex and 9mm. We have some balancer forks and other things out there, but this is the main ship there. It's currently $280,000. Pulsex is doing 2.3, and we're at 2.6. So really low volume on Pulsechain right now, and this is coming off the weekend though into the week. So maybe we'll get up to over 3 million for the weekdays, but pretty low today. 234,000 transactions. So that's pretty much it right now. So what's the summary? I guess the farms are doing well. Emmet Farm, True Farm, high yields farming, single side staking, and EDI, both doing well. Big shout out to Kairos, and of course from Emmet Farm, and Neil and Daniel from True Farm. Those guys are crushing it. And what else? We've got the Provex Richard Hart token looking pretty promising too, doing well. And then we've got Peacock there delayed. The biggest product launch could be a massive game changer for Pulsechain. Really a huge deal. And that's currently delayed to Wednesday, to the tax day. And I think that's a smart move. And of course, they're doing more market buying, propping up the token there. And of course, you can't do much better than that, right? Can't do much better than the team also, really pushing a lot of capital into supporting their store of value token. And of course, we're expecting the wallet to come up potentially before the end of April. So 3 big launches this month for Liberty Swap. First, we had the SDK API. That's going to be something that's going to play out over time. And then we've got this big S product, probably around yield, liquidity, maybe stablecoin related, or at least supportive. And then we've got that's my assessment based on all the information I've seen so far. And then we've got the big wallet coming out. So the team is absolute cracking on Pulsechain. We're looking forward to its rollouts, and we're expecting much more in the future around other yield products, as well as lending products coming out. We've got Liberty Lend coming, and no doubt this team's got a lot of plans for a lot of other heavyweight DeFi frontier sort of development. So pretty exciting there. All right, are we in the bottom? It kind of feels like it. We're in the bottom zone. Obviously, the Iranian stuff causing a bit of volatility, but it does feel like we're in this bottom zone. And like I say, I think the buying is just going to be so much greater than the selling. Over on average, obviously we're going to have blips down, but I feel like these ETFs, the digital asset treasuries, are really just providing such structural support and buying more than's available. Right, that's the key. We would need some exceptional seller to do to sell down. Like I said, I don't know if you guys remember my picture of Bitcoin. Essentially, a lot of the volume is coming out by 2032. We're going to only have about 330 Bitcoin to come out from 2032 through to 2141. These are the years, so over 100 years there for the last 330 Bitcoin come out. We're 2 years from a halving, and we are looking hyper bullish, guys. Hyper bullish. Should I bring up some charts? I'm going to bring up some charts because we've still got plenty of time, 59 minutes. One thing that we've got coming out today, guys, so we're going to give some insight charts here. Hope you guys enjoy some of these charts. So let me pull them up first. And we got the Monster Thread number 49 coming out today. So the hottest Pulsechain weekly news. It is a publication, of course, of the Crypto Night Show. Envious Crypto is out there working hard on that. He is the editor-in-chief and, of course, the promotional lead for the Crypto Night Show. And 49 weeks of the Monster Thread coming out. So we're going to have all the hottest news over the last week in there. Perfect for onboarding new people. Perfect for if you're busy during the week, can't keep up with everything going on Pulsechain and crypto, then that's definitely a publication for you to check out. But it is pretty exciting stuff. Now let me just bring up a few of these charts here, and it's going to take me just a minute to do that. But if you guys haven't subscribed, definitely smash the subscribe button, hit the follow button on X as well, and share the show around. It really helps a lot. As you guys know, we're the largest, Crypto Night shows the largest daily Pulsechain influencer doing daily shows. So definitely give us support there. We take day off here and there, but it's the place to be. So definitely share it around if you love getting into the deep dive. We're a no drama channel. We try to be a PG channel as well, family channel. And there's something else we do as well, but I can't remember what it is, but you get the idea. All right, let me just see what else we got in terms of the charts I wanted to show, because I may not have saved them all. That's another one we'll have a look at. And I think you guys will find these quite insightful, because I think there's a lot of convergence with a lot of different indicators and average and patterns. So well worth checking out there. Let me just see what else we got here. I think I got that one there already, have I? I think I have, yeah. We got this one. Let's check out that. Bam. And I think we got one more maybe. Let me just pull this up. None of this was pre-planned. I'm kind of doing it on the fly. Now, if you guys haven't joined our strategy club, links in the video description. And this is, we take a look at a few of the intels that we have. I always pass, a lot of research I do into the intel, into the strategy club. It's just over $1 a day to join up, so really great value. And we'll hope to see you there as well. All right, I think that's enough. We got 4 here. I think that's enough. So let's go back and check out some of these insightful charts that people have been looking at. All right, so we've got here one chart there. The next 6 to 12 months is Crypto Fergani will be life-changing. Bitcoin is going to 150. ETH will break 5,000. Sol will reach 500. Altcoins will explode. Now, one thing I'll say about this is that, there's all sorts of price targets, and I just think it's going to be up and away, right? So it's going to be pretty high here. You can see on this chart, it's got market cap BTC dominance on this particular chart. And you can see out season 1, out season 2, out season 3. Got the charts running through here at the moment. So this is market cap dominance for Bitcoin. And obviously, it's got it on the down, but we're expecting that to potentially go up. So keep a lookout for that. So when it goes down, we got altcoin season, right? So altcoin season starting, kicking off. So now, I don't know, altcoin season is probably going to be different from 2021 because we've got millions of coins now. We didn't used to have that. We've got lots of coin launches. So you will have to pick off the really quality ones, the really ones offering really good value. For example, on Pulsechain, Liberty Swap's a good one for that. Some of the farms, Emmett Farm, things like that probably do pretty well. So you must always choose the quality ones. A lot of pump and dumpers, probably avoid all those because money will just X out of those pretty quickly. Just take note. You've got a risk return trade off there, but that is pretty cool. So that was a little thing about altcoin season. So we may very well be close to the trigger on those. So we'll keep watching that. This chart goes all the way through to 27 here. So we'll keep a lookout. Now we've got another one here from Documenting Sailor. And we've got a nice little chart here, tighten your seatbelts. Chart says it all for Bitcoin. And you can see the rise here. Now what you see is you got these peaks, right? So 1, 2, and you got 2 major full peaks. These are the full rallies. These full peaks are what we call Raoul Paul's kind of banana curve. We have these big re-rates. Magic money is made in crypto. At the moment, we also have this mid-cycle, right, where we get this mini high and then we pull back. And recently we got that one sort of mini high as well, mid-cycles high, and we pull back, but we haven't had the full peak yet, right? And so the full peak is potentially ahead of us in 26, 27, right? So that is where a lot of the money is gained. So that is what we're heading for here. So this is a great chart for that perspective. I think you guys can agree. So we also have the PMI index. So this is matching what one of the 2 major drivers that we think is going to match with the Bitcoin move, and that is the manufacturing index. And you can see when the manufacturing index is growing, we get that full peak. You can see the match there in the full peaks, and we get the top of the banana curve. Well, we've had an extended long bear market in the PMI manufacturing index for about 2 years. It's only just gone green, and this is perfect timing for the mid-cycle bottom and the rise to the peak. So you can see another match up here is looking very bullish for Bitcoin and, of course, ultimately crypto itself. So very bullish there. Trending overall, we've also got the rainbow chart. There's a couple of variations of rainbow charts, but you can see that we've got a lot of upside here into the top of the cycle based on this one. Bitcoin rainbow chart predicts a 150 to 450 to 440K in 26. Now, I don't know if it's going to be 26, but we're certainly expecting a big rally this year in the second half, but certainly 27 as well. And I don't know. I think we'll probably end up winning the midterms. in our favor. Obviously, we've got to deal with the Iran issue, get that out of the way, have really good economic and growth there, tax refunds, all that sort of stuff coming out, and then people feel rich and healthy and protected, and the Republicans will get in and keep the House, etc. So that's kind of the whole idea. We've already seen a few little clues there with a couple of recent victories that might very well play out. Obviously, you can't lose the House. Got to control the Senate and the presidency, all three, because the Democrats are absolutely, utterly mad. Remember, they are intentionally managing the fall of America, handing over political power to the globalists and indoctrinating all their followers, right? So that's kind of thing. And then it's not enough to indoctrinate their followers, they're trying to indoctrinate all of you guys out there too. And we saw that a lot of that stuff with the money that was coming out of Doge when Elon was there, that they had put it into all these programs for indoctrination, not just in America, but around the world, even including down under here. So, fingers crossed that these guys don't get back into power. All right, so that is the play area right now. That is another chart there. Now, we got Shibo here. Before we get to that, we got Frank White in the house. Bang, bang, a late gang. Yeah, good to see you, Frank White. Welcome to the chat. And we got this fourth chart here. Very few people understand what is about to happen to the crypto industry. Everyone wants to dunk on Michael Saylor and Tom Lee. Of course, we talked about them at the beginning. The massive pump like nothing we've ever seen before is about to happen. Absolutely. Because we didn't have these DATs, this powerful like that. Now they're powerful. And now we've got ETFs coming from the big banks, Morgan Stanleys and others of the world. It is a big deal. The vibes are slowly coming back. Alts are starting to heat up, and it's starting to look more and more like what we saw pre-2020 pump in 2019 after COVID when the recovery started. Be ready, get positioned, and you will be rich. And I think there's a great way to finish the show on. But you can see gold at the moment. This is another perspective. We've looked at three other perspectives already in those previous charts. This is one with gold. So obviously we had gold there, and we are here, and then we had the breakout, right? Where gold absolutely broke out from just over $1,600. This is going from 2008 to 2026 on the chart here, and we rallied all the way up, of course, over $5,000. So gold had the big run. Well, this comparison is making a comparison to Bitcoin, that we had all these runs here all the way from 2020 to 27, and that we've got the same kind of setup happening, and it's ready to go. So just another perspective there. We are here, and so we're really getting ready for this banana part of the curve, and so we're in a hyper bullish zone. Now, remember on the other side too that we're facing the AI and humanoid robot stage of the intelligence age, and this is transformative. It's going to make employment very difficult for a lot of people, particularly once humanoid robots get out there. Like you think, even low skilled, blue collar, white collar, whatever work, they are all going to, if you've suddenly got humanoids doing it instead. So you don't have guy, dropping off your mail in a van. You now have a humanoid robot, or just a robot dropping it off, right, with no humans in it. This is a game changer, right? Why do they need to hire all these people when they can have automated cars and robots do it for them, right? So that's a very different way of looking at things. Why have someone as a paid helper when you can have a humanoid robot with pretty advanced AI doing most of it, right? Doing most of that sort of work. So things can change very quickly. All the factories can essentially be dehumanized, get rid of the people, from big robots to humanoid robots. Really doesn't, you don't need for a lot of the jobs. So it's getting less and less, jobs that you'll need people for. And that's in absolute terms dramatically. So got a lot of that happening. We obviously got the software side as well. A lot of these AIs are getting to the point where, you can get them set up, doing accountancy. So you don't need accountants. Doing tax, don't need tax accountants. Doing lawyers, definitely don't need lawyers. These guys, I don't know, these guys might be, they may be as cold as lawyers, but maybe not as sinister as some lawyers. Not all lawyers, but a lot of lawyers. So we'll see. See what I mean? It just rolls out between whether you're a relatively low skilled worker to a high skilled worker. Where you've got university degrees. It doesn't really matter. It's a very different world. So at the moment, of course, the crypto is offering the holy grail, and it's the one that hasn't really hyper rallied yet. And so you can sort of see we're set up for that. And we've got the digital asset treasuries, Michael Saylor, Vampine, the debt markets to pump Bitcoin. Bitcoin is fixed in supply compared to everything else, which is inflating. And then, of course, you got finance coming over the blockchain, Ethereum dominating that. We already see it winning on stablecoins, tokenization, agent AI payment systems, creative payments as well. it's game on, and we already see a lot of the key players in TradeFi trying to bridge over, and of course Tom Lee and Michael Saylor both facilitating equity and debt markets to come over to pump crypto. And of course, we also see not just institutional adoption in the process. Remember, this is a multi-year process; it doesn't happen overnight. Because company constitutions have to change, risk profiles of executives have to change. Lots of things have to happen, but it is in process. And then we've also got mass adoption for retail that is coming. So how's that going to come? Well, we got Tom Lee working with Beast Industries with Mr. Beast. They get 1 in 3 people on the internet watching their videos every month. So that is a road to mass adoption that we haven't had before. And number 2 is we've got big products like X Money on X. They have about 1 billion users, I think it is, a month. So that is also going to be another way to mass adoption. And we're probably going to have 3, 4, 5 of these different ways to get mass adoption for crypto. And they're all going to be part of an integrated system built on top of Ethereum. So it's going to be hugely exciting, guys. So we're going to have AI and humans all coming over to Ethereum. It's going to be pretty awesome. And fun times ahead, I would say, fun times. Now, obviously, other chains are going to probably do quite well. Solana, XRP with the banking system, Ripple, and of course Doge there with X Money and stuff like that. So there's definitely going to be opportunities. There's always going to be need for a solid data chain, data provider. So Chainlink will probably fit that sort of market. But most of the money, remember, most of the money follows the big chains and the big players there, and so that's kind of your low risk, high return play. And that's kind of a summary of where we're all heading right now. So getting exciting. Obviously, we've got the short-term volatility of the Iranian conflict. But, man, I think we're winding up to an absolute bullish move, and so far been pretty impressed. Now, those are all the bear scenarios, but I think the bear scenario is massive. Fundamentals are massive. But we've always got a scenario that we could potentially have a bearish event, and you can never exclude that. Like I say, I think that if that does occur, 53K Bitcoin's probably the mark, and it would be very brief. I think we'd have a pretty violent rebound. Now, assuming we don't have the bearish scenario with something unexpected, then we could end up having a very big re-rate in the banana part of the curve that we were potentially expecting last year, but playing out in the second half of this year in 2027. So that leaves our kind of a key risk being the midterms, but I think, like I say, I think that may end up still going in the Republicans' favor if everything is calm enough, people are wealthy, and the economy's booming, which early signs are showing that so far. We had great employment numbers, remember, triple times the amount. We'll just have to see how much of the oil shock occurs. US, of course, is somewhat insulated, the fact that they're a net oil exporter. So there will be some insulation there, earning all that money, and of course all the ships coming to pick up oil for the United States. So we'll just have to see where that lands. And we got a new chair in July that should be Trump favored and more, and hopefully get an interest rate cut. Hopefully, 50 basis points would be pretty cool. So we'll see, and that would also feed the market. We've obviously got record monetary printing happening as well, and there's a lot of US debt to be refinanced, and so that's all got to be done through mechanisms like buying their own bonds and stuff like that. So lots of cool things happening in monetary supply. Trump is focused heavily on fiscal policy like no other president has ever done, dealing with the trade deficit, the federal budget deficit, and of course public debt. He's all working on all those at the same time, unlike nobody else has ever done, and it's long overdue. So not only will we have a pretty safe society, relatively speaking, with Trump once and for all, we'll also have a more prosperous environment, and of course a crypto boom like you've never seen it before. Like I say, by 2032, Bitcoin essentially is got very low inflation after that, and will be well priced, well above that before then, because demand is coming in unbelievably so. So feel hyper bullish. Is the time. It is the moment. And of course, it's better to be in crypto and make mad gains than to be suffering in the employment market with the advent of AI, mass immigration, and humanoid robots coming. So onwards and upwards, guys. Onwards and upwards, all I can say. All right, we're up to an hour and 15. That's pretty much it for the live. I hope you guys enjoyed the commentary and some of the insightful charts and things like that. I'll catch you again on tomorrow's show. Take care, everybody, and see you then. Bye for now. Onwards and upwards. Let's go.